If you ask me, I think PSG not winning the Champions League with Lionel Messi is kind of a bigger disappointment than United with Ronaldo, simply because of the quality of the...
That's not the question.
That's not the question?
The question is, what are the best budget smartphones you can buy for 100,000?
Yeah, I knew that. Let's talk about the best smartphones you can buy for 100,000 Naira. Okay, so terrible intro aside, today we're looking at 7 different smartphones that you could buy for about 100,000 Naira or $250. I have used and reviewed some of these phones on the list, so I will leave links to that in the description. But for the ones I haven't, I will leave links to other creators who have in the description, so you could go check them out. Okay, first off, we have the Infinix Note 10 / the Tecno Camon 17, and we kind of put them together because they're owned by the same parent company, Transsion. So they're actually very similar, but they do have a couple differences. So let's talk about them. Well, the Note 10 is cheaper at 79,000. That's about $192 for the base 64 4GB RAM version. It comes with a 6.95-inch LCD display. It's a 1080p display. It's actually the biggest display on this list. It's really huge, and 1080p is a pretty high resolution, but I wouldn't say the quality is the best. We're gonna see some other ones later on. It comes with a Helio G85 and Android 11, and it should be getting Android 12. Now, the Helio G85 is great for gaming, so if you're a gamer, you're gonna enjoy this. It's not the best chipset on this list as well, even for gaming, but it's pretty decent. It also comes with a triple camera setup, a 48 megapixel main, 2 megapixel monochrome and depth sensors. Now, it really is just that main sensor that works, and it's okay. In fact, it's pretty impressive. The downside is that the other 2 sensors on this phone don't work really, but yeah, so far pretty decent smartphone. It also comes with a 5,000 mAh battery, which is plenty for a lot of people, and it does come with 18-watt fast charging, so that is also pretty cool. Now, really, I would say, even though it's the cheapest phone on this list, it gives a lot of value. It has arguably the best battery on the list and comes with fast charging. So again, it's an all-round value phone. I mean, that's the same story with the Camon 17 with a couple of differences, like design, right? I think the Camon actually looks nicer than the Note 10. The price as well, the Camon is 3,000 Naira more expensive, but the advantage it has is it comes with a base storage of 128 gigabytes. So 128 gigabytes, that's a lot more than 64, and a lot of people will appreciate that. The display is also different. It comes with a 720p display, which is less than the Infinix Note 10, but it comes with a higher refresh rate at 90 Hz. So really, it's your choice now. Do you want a higher resolution or do you want a more fluid display? Size is also something that is different. 6.6 inches on the Camon 17 and 6.95 inches on the Note 10. So clearly, I do think if you don't want to spend a lot of money, these 2 phones are definitely ones that you should consider. And if you were to pick between the 2, I would say it's down to just size. Do you want a bigger phone or not? I think that's pretty much what it would come down to. The next on the list though is definitely not from Transsion. It's the Galaxy A12, the Samsung Galaxy A12. Now, it costs about 75,000 Naira or $200. It has a 6.5-inch PLS IPS display. It's a 720p display. Now, PLS is made by Samsung and it's supposed to be better than LCD, which I guess is an advantage, but it has a 720p display. So that's definitely lower than what we saw on the Note 10. Now, another downside of the Samsung A12 is the processor. It's running the Helio P35, which is less than the G85. Came in box, I believe, with Android 10, but it's getting Android 11 and 12 as well, so that's a plus. It's really a smooth phone. Like, while using the phone, you're not going to have trouble, doing daily tasks, but it's not great for gaming. Okay, so this phone has 4 cameras, a 48 megapixel main sensor, a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 other 2 megapixel sensors. Now, I think this is one area where this phone shines in terms of the camera. It's actually pretty competitive. I wouldn't say it's the best because we still have another Samsung on this list, but yeah, it's pretty nice. It also comes with a 5,000 mAh battery, but slowly charges at 15 watts. Now, the only reason why you would buy this phone, really, in my opinion, is if you want a Samsung phone and you don't want to spend more than $200. Next, we have the Gionee M15. Now, it costs 91,000 Naira, or about $221, so a bit more on the pricey side. I didn't add this phone to the list just to fill it up. It's actually a pretty good phone. Now, it has a 6.67-inch 1080p LCD display. It has a really high pixel density at 395. It's another really good display, but it's not the best on the list. It runs the best processor actually, with a Helio G90 chipset with Android 11, but we're not sure if Android 12 will be coming. It's really fluid and definitely the best when it comes to gaming. So we already have, the best processor. It has quad cameras as well, with a main 48 megapixel sensor, a 5 megapixel ultra wide, and two 2 megapixel sensors as well. Okay, now the main cameras are very okay. Of course, they're not the best, but very okay. And the fact that you have an additional ultra wide, I think that's pretty interesting, even though it's a 5 megapixel sensor and it's definitely not as detailed as the main one, but it's still kind of cool, It's definitely not the strengths of this phone. We also have a 5,100 mAh battery, which is currently the highest number in terms of battery, and it also has 18-watt fast charging. So again, really good battery, super competitive in that battery segment. The spec list is pretty impressive and probably the best, among the phones that we've talked about so far. Now, the only issue with the Gionee M15 for me really is the fact that it's not out there. I do feel like if Gionee sent this phone out to multiple different creators in Nigeria and elsewhere, a lot of people would be looking at the Gionee M15. So if anyone at Gionee is currently watching this video, well, yes, your phones are pretty amazing. Like, why didn't you just, send it out to more people? The next phone on the list is not a Redmi, but it's the Samsung Galaxy A22. Now, there are two variants. We have the 5G one and the non-5G one. So we're talking about the 4G version. It costs 94,000 Naira, which is about $228. Now, it's a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED 90Hz 720p display. It's currently, in my opinion, the second best display that we have. 90Hz plus an AMOLED display. That's really impressive. The only downside is that it's 720p. But yeah, really good display on this smartphone. It also comes with the Helio G80, which is fine, and with 4 GB of RAM would be enough for everyday tasks and some light gaming. It should be able to handle some heavy gaming, but I wouldn't push it to the max. Now, it comes with a 48 megapixel main sensor, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 megapixel macro and depth sensors. Now, it's one of the better cameras out there, possibly the best, in my opinion. I haven't tested it out, but I have seen photos taken on this phone and they look really impressive. It also comes with 5,000 mAh battery, but again, kind of like the A12, a slow 15-watt fast charging. Now, you would buy this phone if you like, again, Samsung smartphones and you have a bit more to spend. I do think this is a better buy than the A12. So if you do have a little bit more to spend, you should definitely go for the A22. Now, the last on the list, we have the Redmi Note 10. Now, the Note 10 cost about 94,000 Naira, so it just barely makes it onto the list. But then we also have the Redmi Note 10 5G and the Note 10s, which cost a bit more than 100,000 Naira. But if you're interested in finding out the differences between the Note 10, Note 10s and Note 10 5G, I did make a video on it, so you could go check that one out. But yes, let's talk about just the Redmi Note 10 because it fits in our budget. Now, it comes with a 6.43-inch 1080p Super AMOLED display. So that makes it the best display on this list. And it's actually impressive how they were able to do this considering this phone costs less than 100,000 Naira. It also comes with a Snapdragon 678 chipset, which is the second best chipset on this list. So first place and second place, that's pretty cool. You should be able to do everything you would want to do on a smartphone. Gaming wouldn't be the best, but it should handle games pretty well as well. It does come with a 5,000 mAh battery and 33 watts fast charging. So I think we might actually give the king the battery to the Redmi 10. It also has decent cameras, 40 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel macro and depth sensors. Now, I do think that the Samsung would do better than this phone in terms of quality, but yeah, pretty decent cameras. Okay, I think that's about it. By now you should have actually known what smartphone you're going with. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Let me know in the comments which one fits you. And If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. Again, I will see you when you see me.